Hey everyone, welcome to episode 11 of Outside the Box. I'm Mark from Haunted Auckland and Paranormal New Zealand, and for today's episode we're going to be talking to Alex Matsuo from North Carolina.
Yeah, there we go. Better quality. I mean, my background's not the greatest, but it's my guest room, so guest room / office.
Mine's a bit cluttered, as you can see.
Oh, you're good. But yours fits with like branding and the theme, and so I mean that's all good.
Yeah. So how you been?
Doing okay. I mean, given the circumstances, I'm doing all right, hanging in there. So
you're not having to cope with the lockdown too much then over there.
No. I mean, ours is pretty. They closed all non-essential businesses, so like movie theaters, hair salons, restaurants can't do dine-in. They can only do takeout, which makes sense. Yeah. So my life honestly hasn't really changed that much because I've always been sort of a introvert homebody. So this has been fine for me for the most part. Because we can still go out, we can still go outside, we can still take a walk. Yeah, so.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, you're from North Carolina, founder of the Association of Paranormal Study. Been enjoying that page. It's been very good website. And you're something of a YouTube sensation, really, at the moment, are you?
I don't know about sensation, maybe hot mess, but yes.
I'll be checking out your channel. And you've got some really good stuff on there, actually. Some really well produced stuff. There's the Ghost Hunters Quarantine Survival Guide. I thought was really good. I think a lot of teams need to see that. I think it's quite important, and I think it was really well put together, easy to understand.
Thank you.
And I think it needs to be shared. So I'm going to be sharing that one quite a bit. Because I think in this time it's a good opportunity to train a few people, educate a few people. Also the how to ghost hunt for the newbies out there. That was another good video you did. Very helpful. So. Oh,
thank you.
Very informative. So I'll put the links up to those up online. So yeah, the whole YouTube channel. How did that come about? You something you decided to do? Some random whim?
Yeah. Well. I had seen, I had always wanted to do some kind of YouTube channel because I did monthly meetups in North Carolina. We're moving to an all digital platform for right now because of life. And I don't know, I saw other videos from people who have a lot of subscribers, have a lot of views, but either the information is wrong, outdated, or unrealistic. And I honestly didn't really know if these people did field work, and field work meaning people going out and ghost hunting. And so I was like, I can do this, and if people want to watch me, then awesome. If there's just one viewer, then awesome. I'm going to do it for that one viewer. I just like creating content. And I'm really passionate about teaching people about ghost hunting and, ethics behind ghost hunting outside of the traditional framework that we've known for almost 2 decades now. So there's other ways to ghost hunt and get ghost talking. So I love showing people how to do that.
Yeah, that's good. It's I mean, there are a lot of videos online, as you know, how to ghost hunt, and a lot of them are from wannabes or people that have never actually really gone out there and done it. They're just sort of parroting what they've heard. And because the paranormal is quite popular at the moment, everyone's sort of jumping on that bandwagon. So I don't know. I would prefer to listen to the people that are actually out there in the field, actually sitting in the dark, in the damp for hours upon hours and doing the hard slog, Those are the people I listen to, the ones that are doing it. So the Association of Paranormal Study, how'd that come about? That's quite a good little organisation you got there. Is it a good little team?
Yeah, it has grown quite a bit. I started the team in 2011. We're going up to 9 years now.
Right?
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
A lot of teams don't last that long. So, and really, I wanted to give people support in their paranormal situations that I didn't have when I was in high school, because I had one really alarming situation. And granted, it was 2004, because I graduated in 2004. So Ghost Hunters had just come out, and there really wasn't that boom in local teams yet. Actually, I don't even know if Ghost Hunters had come out yet. I'll have to check my dates. But anyway, there was really no team out there. I mean, I'd seen the movie Poltergeist, and I was like, is there anything like that? Like, no. So we ended up getting an intervention from the Greek Orthodox Church to help resolve that situation. Was it necessary? I don't know, because it just kind of put a Band-Aid on it. They literally gave me a big spray bottle of holy water, and they said, good luck. And I had to make a sign of the cross over my bed every night with the holy water.
Really?
Which, that's great. That's great to get from somebody. So looking back then, from the client perspective, that's honestly terrifying. It didn't really make me feel better. It was, okay, so you did all these prayers, you got out the olive oil and made the sign of the cross and did all these things, but then you hand me the big spray bottle of holy water. Okay. So after I got my master's degree, I decided, okay, this is something I really want to do. I studied up on the paranormal. I read a bunch of books. I mean, I had been reading books since upper elementary school about the paranormal, and took some classes from people not from TV, and I took a class from somebody on TV too, just to kind of see what the differences were. Shadowed a few teams, and it took me about a month to come up with the name. Like, I just came up with all of these synonyms of paranormal and spooky and group, and just kind of made it from there. And
yeah,
it's evolved quite a bit. Before, we were just a little Facebook page. We had a website. We didn't even really pay attention to Facebook. And yeah, it's grown quite a bit since then.
That's good, because I've been reading through it all, and it's there's a bit of thought in there. There's a bit of debunking, and it's good to see a team out there that's a thinker, that like to think and work things out, and don't call everything as paranormal or as ghosts. It's just not the way it is. So it's nice to meet teams that do start to think a little bit logically about things, and do start to work out the basics like orbs and lens flare and just those basic paranormal 101 things that you learn eventually. Everybody that gets into the paranormal thinks that orbs are ghosts and that's the way it is, and until they start learning about photography and lighting and dust and insects and things. That's always
the first thing I will tell. If someone ever says, hey, I want to start ghost hunting, what do you recommend? I say, take a photography class.
Yeah, that's a good start. That's a
really good start. Take a photography class. Yeah. It's not paranormal, but you'll learn a lot about cameras.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people just to just sit at home. Just sit at home in the dark and listen to the house. I've got this little analogy. I always sort of mention that houses have their own language. They talk, and creaking and banging and clicking, and that's kind of a house language. And I said, just listen to them talking. Listen to your house at home talk, and you'll hear the clicks and your creaks. And those are the things that you're going to come up with during paranormal investigation, and you have to be able to decipher that language and know what is actual paranormal and what is actually just natural. Got to work through it all.
That's great advice.
That's
great advice. I love it.
You've written a book as well, I see.
I've written a few books, yes.
You have? Okay. I think with the Brave Mortals?
3 or 4 books. Yeah, so the Brave Mortals Guide to Ghost Hunting, that's my latest one, yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, I haven't got it. Yeah. I've got a massive library. I'm gonna be ordering it from you, so I want it signed, of course. So on the side, just send some details, and I'll slip something through for you. Cool. So a good little book. Is it basically a guide from step by step, as your video has done?
Yeah, it's basically like a really long version of the video. I go into history of ghost hunting. I think that's important for us to know why we do things the way that we do. What did people do before? And like, I mean, ghost research and intervention goes all the way back to ancient Mesopotamia. I mean, it goes back to the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans. So it's important to know like your roots, so to speak. And we get into like, why do we do knocks? You know, like there's a lot of ghost hunters out there that don't know that stems from the spiritualism era. You know, it's like, okay. So it's important to know these things. And I go into
rapping back then.
Rapping. Yep, rapping. Yeah. And means something different today.
Yeah.
And I also get into ghost hunting with empathy. That's a big thing. Because I think with ghost hunting the way that it is, and way that it has been since the TV shows came out, there's been a lack of connection with ghost hunting, really. It's a lot of, give us a sign of your presence. Can you show yourself? You know, things like that where you might be able to get a response, but you're not making a connection. And to me, when you make that connection, that's when you have that more productive conversation, and you're there to learn. You're not there to like show off. You're there to learn about whoever is there, so, and why they're there.
Yeah. That's why I think it takes quite a few visits to a location as well. Just going to one location for say 1 hour or 2 hours isn't really going to cut it. You need to keep going back. And I think if there is a spirit there or a ghost in a building, I think it'd be quite nice for it to get familiar with you. And as it becomes familiar, it may start interacting. I don't know.
Yep.
It's just a theory, but
it's just like meeting someone in real life. I always make analogies with real life. Like, would you talk to somebody this way if they were standing right in front of you in a physical form? Would you speak to them with that tone of voice? You know, I know for me, when I first meet somebody, unless it's one of those kindred spirit moments, I don't really open up that much. And you can't ask a ghost to open up to you and tell you their life story in an hour or two. It takes time. It takes time. It takes some whining and dining, so to speak.
It does. So, I mean, how far back does your interest in the paranormal go? I mean, did you start as a young person and then grow into it, or did you just get into it in your teens or early adulthood? Or
I have been into the weird stuff since I was about 7 or 8. I had an experience when I was a kid at my great-grandmother's house in Kentucky in this little tiny river town. You go across the bridge over the river, you hit Ohio, you go over the other bridge, you hit West Virginia. I mean, this is a tiny little town. It's not so tiny anymore. It's grown quite a bit, but I had a huge interest in it, and then my mom found out about it, and she was like, absolutely not. But of course, when you tell a kid, no, you can't, don't bring this into my house, it turned into me like, checking out the Goosebumps books in elementary school, but leaving them in the library. In middle school, I really started getting more into reading Hans Holzer, Harry Price, Ed and Lorraine Warren, their stuff. I mean, I didn't really understand what I was reading back then. All I knew was, it's about ghosts. I had to reread some of those books later in life to really understand what I was reading. But I just wanted to learn more about ghosts. I wanted to watch movies with ghosts, documentaries, most haunted places on earth. I remember that show, where the people walked around these abandoned buildings with these like cameras all over them, and you watch them like scream and run through buildings. I loved that stuff. And in high school, as soon as I started driving, I started sneaking out at night and hitting up Old Town. I'm originally from San Diego, and San Diego has the Whaley House, and so I'd go to Old Town where the Whaley House was. I didn't break into the Whaley House, because that would get me arrested, but I went to the cemetery that was down the block from it. So trying to talk to ghosts when I was 16. That was a big thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I mean, it's like you talk to a lot of the younger people these days that are wanting to get into it. They've never heard of Hans Holzer. They've never heard of Harry Price and all the greats. These are people that I grew up with. These are people that have inspired me Guy Playfair, when I read his works on the infield haunting, the infield haunting is one that's fascinated me since I was a child.
Yeah.
Just the early works from the pioneers.
On my bookshelf.
Yeah, the early works. The old school. That's what it's all about. I think it's important to learn the roots of the paranormal. It's the same with music. I think if you're into, say, heavy metal, I think it's good to learn where heavy metal came from. Learn its roots. Don't just sort of start from the band that's current. Learn its roots. Learn where it came from. Its history. I think it's important. And I'm quite surprised at the number of paranormal investigators I've met that have never heard of Harry Price or Hans Holzer.
It blows my mind.
It is. It's.
Or
I don't know why.
Or they'll be like, or I've heard of Jason Hawes. Like, oh no, we're talking like 19th and early 20th century here, y'all. Like, come on.
Yeah. You would have seen some of these Facebook memes that are out at the moment where they'll say, what famous paranormal investigator would you investigate with? And it all starts off with Zach Bagans, Jason Hawes and all those. I mean, I love the Ghost Hunters guys, but most of the people pick Zach Bagans as the most respected or important paranormal researcher ever.
Yeah,
it's just, I can't understand that.
That makes me sad. That makes me sad. And no offense to Zach, but it just makes me sad.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't get it. I think if you're a researcher, especially if you're into history, these are little things that should stand out to you. The history of the field you're into, surely. I don't know.
And it's funny you say that, because the ones who don't know our history when it comes to paranormal investigation and research, they also don't do a lot of historical research on their cases. No. It's kind of funny. I'm like, or they'll go to the location's website, or they'll go to somebody's random blog and stop there. And I'm like, no, you need to get out the Ancestry trial membership, get out the newspapers.com membership, they have free trials. If you have like 8 emails, you can get a couple months of newspapers.com trials in there. Get out the Library of Congress's website. That's gold mine, by the way, of information for anyone in the United States listening. Highly recommend. You need to really dig deep on the historical research of it, because if you do make contact and you just happen to know that family tree, you'll know who you're talking to, and then you can extend the conversation from there. So that goes back to the whole ghost hunting with empathy and making those connections.
No. These days, research is going to Google, typing in ghosts and that location, click, and then looking at that page, and then going printing out a page. There's your research file.
Yep.
That's what it is. That's what it is these days.
Yeah.
It's a Google printout.
And these are the same people calling themselves paranormal researchers, and I'm like, what are you researching? And please cite your sources. That's how you can make them mad. Ask them to cite their sources. Yeah. Well, we've got to try and educate these people. I don't like belittling them and putting them down and judging and all that. But I think it needs to be said. I mean, there are thousands upon thousands of teams. It does in this world. How many of them are actually legit? How many of them are actually doing the work? But yet, every single one of them is putting themselves out there as a professional paranormal investigator or researcher. And that drives me nuts, because I'm like, one. Triggered. Oh, I'm triggered. Oh, I am so triggered by that. Well, because one, professional would indicate this is something you get paid to do. Yeah. You've had some sort of like education or certification in that, which there's no certification for ghost hunting. There's a few like graduate programs around the world. Actually, no, I think University of Edinburgh is the only one that has like anything in parapsychology. I think Lloyd Auerbach was one of the last people to get an actual degree in parapsychology. That's the good one when they don't know what parapsychology is. There used to be a program in New York for parapsychology, and I know there's one in University of Edinburgh. There's another one. There's a PhD program in the paranormal, but it's not the paranormal. It's like paranormal and media studies. I have a friend in that program, and he's really interested in like the work that we do, because we do a lot of polls. We ask a lot of discussion questions on our page, so it gives people an idea of like, what's everyone else around you thinking. But it's just the whole professional title. I think it's misleading, because there's nothing there. I don't even consider myself a professional. I mean, because I don't get paid to ghost hunt. I mean, I do make money from the paranormal, but I make it through book sales, ad revenue, and then if I do any webinars that are longer than an hour, because that's paying me for my time and research. And even then, I'm not charging like a lot. It's like $15 a class, and I'll do that as a group setting. And even then, like that money half of it will stay to cover costs, and then the rest goes to charity. So that may change in the future depending on economy and stuff. But still, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm not going to charge a client to go to their house. And I mean, and you can look at professionalism as, how you act, which is fine, but I still wouldn't consider that's being well behaved. That's giving yourself a reward for doing what you already were supposed to be doing in the first place.
And you can be organized. You can be organized. Yeah. You can be organized and professional in that way, structured and organized, and, deal well with your clients and that kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was a hot point.
Yeah, well, it needs to be said more. I mean, there are so many people wanting to get into this field, and most of them are just sort of thrill seekers and enthusiasts. Really, that's what I see them as. It's more of a social thing. It's a social media thing.
Yeah,
everybody
definitely
wants to be the latest celebrity. I was talking to Dan and Pete from Australia on my last video. We were talking about that because they have a paranormal series. And there are just so many teams over in Australia that all want to be celebrities, and they're all sort of arguing and fighting and tearing each other down, to get to that top of the pyramid. It's quite sad. It's unnecessary. We're quite lucky here in New Zealand. We've only got a small handful of teams here, and I think out of maybe about 5 teams in the whole of New Zealand, maybe 6.
Oh,
and
wow.
there's only about two.
Wow.
There's only about 2 or 3 that are actually out there in the field doing anything. The rest is just kind of, I guess, post memes and just sort of post to their Facebook page and uplifting memes about being positive and you're a ghost hunter when and that kind of thing. And that's their level of.
Yeah. We do a little mix of that just to keep things lighthearted. But we do have the research, though, to be like, hey, if you like our content, then check out our website, because we got articles.
There are a lot of very fluffy websites out there.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Or the websites is just, hey, we're this team. Here's our bio. We can come in and investigate your home. That's it.
And we're scientific. We're scientific because we use spirit boxes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We're scientific. We use scientific equipment. Here's our spirit box and our ovilus.
Oh my gosh. Equipment does not equal science. No. Like I know paranormal researchers who are studying quantum physics and the paranormal. Like that's scientific, but I don't think they would even label themselves as we're a scientific based team. It's like, no. And it's another one of those things that's misleading. I mean, anytime someone says they have a scientific approach, I'm like, okay, what's a ghost? Based on your scientific research, what is a ghost? What is it made of? Where does it come from? Because I'm that person.
That's right.
Depends on the situation, but if they can't answer that question, I say, okay, well, if you're not doing any sort of like experimentation, recreation, just basic scientific method stuff, then you're not scientific.
That's right.
Yeah. Or they'll ask me what's the scientific method, and I'm like,
yeah. We get asked that quite often, but with my team, we do follow the scientific method. We follow it as closely as we possibly can with what we've had to work with. We have very little to work with, as you know, but we do the steps. We do the observation. We do the analysis. We do the all the steps and experimentation, and you do what you can within that field with what you've got to work with, which is very limited. And with investigation, I mean, we find that most of it's just sitting around waiting, because you can't investigate something if there's nothing there to investigate. You have to wait until something happens. And when then something happens, then you can investigate it. So it's a lot of waiting. A lot of waiting. Equipment. Let's talk equipment. Do you have much equipment? Do you use much equipment yourself?
We have a modest arsenal of equipment. I mean, we have most of it's all for observational purposes, though. So we have a surveillance system. We have audio recorders. We have camcorders for us to hold when we're going. I have one of those. This will tell you how old I am. Well, I'm not that old, but how long I've been doing this. I have one of the original Radio Shack hacks, Shack Hack radios.
Yeah.
With the mute clip cut. I think, and that one I like it because I've tried the PSB7 and there's still a lot of like noise coming through. Whereas with the Shack Hack radio, I've experimented with it on different stations, and just because I'm curious, I'm like, okay. I only say that because I've heard my own mother's voice on the Shack Hack, and I'm like, that's weird. And I've never heard it again. It only happened that once. And I had it, and it was on an AM station. And where there was literally, we were out in the boonies. There was no radio stations going. Because usually what we'll do is we'll do like a sweep for like 10 minutes. And if we hear something, we'll write down what station it is. And we have someone with a camera on it the whole time. So when words are coming through, if we do hear something, we'll be like, hey, was that on a station? Because the Shack Hack kind of goes a little slower too. It's like a as opposed to the. So I've gotten like a few interesting things from that I'm like, I want to know what that means. But we have an Ovilus. Well, we used to have an Ovilus. That one is more for, okay, I want to see what this does so I can kind of debunk it. Someone else bought it on my team, so it wasn't my investment. And I am so skeptical of the Ovilus because the word bank. It's the word bank. To me, as soon as you have a word bank in there, it's done. We're not doing it. So instead, we set it to not just phonetic mode, but reverse phonetic mode. So just to see what comes out still, and it's still a blip, blop, blip, blop, bloop, beep, bop. Yep. So I've only had one thing on the Ovilus, again, reverse phonetic mode, where we heard it counting with us when we were reading a counting book. I'm not going to say it was a ghost, but it was just really convenient. Super convenient that happened at that time. It was real. Actually, it's the videos on YouTube on my team's page. I'll send it to you. Like you literally hear it say 6, 7, 8 as we're counting, and I'm like, that's okay. So,
and it's scanning through the stations as it goes.
Yeah, so, and like I said, we were literally reading a book. It was like an Elmo counting book because we were in this hospital with a children's ward. And, yeah, it was literally just, okay, let's count to 1. Let's count to 3. 1, 2. And then we'd be silent for 3 to see if it would say 3. And it would say those numbers. And I'm like, if this is a sham, it's super convenient right now. But again, we had it on reverse phonetic mode, so it wasn't spouting off any words. And if anyone else uses the Ovilus, I recommend you use it in a phonetic mode and not the word bank, because you're going to get demon, death.
Those words are all in there.
Scary.
Yeah. Drown.
And you can program it too. You can program it.
Okay,
program that word bank. So. You can. You can manipulate it. So
I've never been into them personally. It's just not my thing. It's not my thing. What do you
it's
think?
another thing to keep track of too.
I guess. I mean, it's okay to experiment and try it out. I mean, all these little fads that come through, you know, one of them, well, somebody in the team will buy one and we'll check it out, like the whole SLS camera Connect thing. You know, we've given that a go.
Yeah.
It looks good. It was great at the time when it first came out, and made us think, wow, okay, it's quite neat. But then you start looking into how it works, and you know, it's you start.
And then you're like, damn it.
Yeah. Look, I'm interacting with this little girl. Look, this little girl. Look, I can put my hand on her head. Look, she's got her arms up. But no, unfortunately.
We haven't made the SLS dive.
Yeah, what would you say is the most overrated piece of equipment? And I always ask people that. I always ask people. I'm trying to gauge people's opinions on the most overrated pieces of equipment out there that people are using.
That's a tough one. A part of me wants to say the Ovilus just because of that word bank, or actually, most phone apps.
Yes.
A lot of people use phone apps, and I feel bad because there's one. No, I don't feel bad. I don't know what I feel with that. There's one person that I know is making it. I don't want to name the app because I don't want to start a war, because that happens in the paranormal field.
Right.
Fie on your personal opinion. There is one app that has made a lot of waves, and for the life of me, I cannot get it to do what I want it to do. And people are posting all this amazing data they're getting, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm not getting it. I don't get it. I don't get what the whole thing is about, because it is recording my voice as I'm asking questions, and it's echoing my own words back. So I know it's me. But then it's like, oh no, you have to separate that and listen to the voices that are happening underneath that. And I'm like, I hear a bunch of garbled messes, and I even tried presets because somebody sent me a bunch of presets I could try with this app. To me, my phone wasn't made to find a ghost. My phone was made to probably listen to my thoughts, because if I talk about dogs and I pull up Facebook, I'm going to get ads about dogs. Watch. But it's there to, record for the most part. I mean, it can record audio. I've used it as an audio recorder when my other one died and I didn't have batteries. You can probably use it as a camera, but the EMF apps, the Ghost Radar apps, the Spirit Box apps, I can't put any weight in it. And that's just from personal experience too. So I'm not just talking out my butt. I'm just speaking from personal experience, and as somebody who has used a lot of the equipment, I just can't.
There was one app that came out. I think it was Ghost Radar or something like that. It was some Ghost Radar type app. But what it did, and it didn't actually make it clear to the person that uploaded it, is that it puts ghosts into your photographs and your camera. It was like a little side thing that it did. And so there was all these ghost apps and people were taking photos with their phone, and there'd be a ghost in it of a little girl or a nurse or something like that in the background. And they didn't realize that in the fine print.
I hate those. It
was a little side thing, part of the app. It was in the fine print that it would put these ghosts into your photos randomly. So a lot of people had their sort of holiday photos and wedding photos ruined by these ghosts appearing in their photos.
Whoops.
Yeah, so
whoopsies.
Entertainment purposes only. Favorite location?
Ooh, that's a good one. It has to be the Trivik Clinic. It's in Hamptonville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
It's a pretty rural, small town. And when I first got there, I was very skeptical of it, because it's supposedly over 70 ghosts haunt the place. And I mean, it's a smallish house. I mean, probably no more than 1,500 square feet, 2 stories. And I'm like, really? But then I went there and I was blown away by some of the experiences I was having there. We actually caught a voice that we were trying to play tag with the little girl that was in the basement. And I said something to the effect of, you need to let us know who's it, you know, who's it. And you hear this little voice go, tag. And I even heard it with my own ears. It wasn't just something that appeared on my audio recorder after the fact. I actually heard it. And when that happens, it kind of turns into, stop. I need to see if this was caught on audio, and it was. So that was one of my most probably remarkable moments out there in the field. And literally, this again goes back to ghost hunting with empathy and making that connection. We weren't trying to say, give us a sign of your presence or show yourself or let us know that you're here. It was, hey, we're going to play a game of tag. You're welcome to join us. You need to let us know who's it. And then you just hear that little tag.
Wow.
So
neat.
We've had other things happen there too, but that was the first one I was like, oh, that's really cool. So, and I get really excited when things like that happen.
You know, it's a rush, isn't it? It's a rush when something happens because you're waiting for so long for something to happen. When something really genuinely unusual happens that you can't figure out, it's a real rush. I love it. It's a great feeling. It doesn't happen very often, though. It doesn't happen very often, but it's
it doesn't.
No.
It happens a little more often at the Trivik Clinic, though, I will say, which is good.
I haven't heard of that one.
That's after a lot of visits.
Right.
It's a little diamond in the rough. It's kind of hidden away. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I'll have to get onto Google and do some serious research about it and maybe print out a page.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there a single piece of important evidence anywhere in the world, like a photograph or a piece of video, that has impressed you so far? Anywhere in history, going way back, like a ghost photo or a piece of footage. Yeah. Is there a ghost photo that you absolutely loved?
Oh, there's trying to remember the full name. I'm looking at. I know half of the name, but I don't remember the location. It's like the brown lady of.
Oh yeah, brown lady,
yeah, that one.
Coming down the stairs.
One. I mean, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
The other one, and I'm only super skeptical of it because who was involved with it, but the little boy in the Amityville house. Oh yeah, that's the house. That's the photo. Yeah. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep. I've always found that to be really interesting because even if it's a hoax, I'm like, God, what did they do to make that? That's really awesome. So
I've heard different explanations from various skeptics out there, basically saying that it was reflections from the banisters. It was like light reflection coming from the window up here, sort of reflecting off the banisters and causing this lens flare type situation. But I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't know. I mean, you would think that effect would happen more often then. Like, there would be more photos like that if that was the case.
Yeah, I mean, one of the photographers did say that he saw it coming down the stairs at the time. Whether that's true or not, we don't know. That could have just been a story that's been embellished a little bit afterwards. But they said that the reason that they took the photograph is because they saw it coming down the stairs and went, "Click, take a photo now." That's what came out. So it's an interesting one. Yeah. For me personally, I've always been interested in the whole Enfield haunting.
Oh, that one's That one is fascinating, especially the video of her when she's being interviewed with Bill. I think what's his name?
Yeah.
My name's Bill. Yes, that. Oh man.
I know.
Creeped me out.
And she does it for so long.
It just creeped me out because I'm like, she does, and I'm like, how is if this was a hoax? I'm like, how is her voice like not destroyed after that? Because I'm a singer too, and I'm very familiar with vocal anatomy, and oh my gosh, like, geez, that freaked me out too when I first saw that, like the footage or the audio footage from that. Whew, that's a fascinating case too. That is that's an incredible case.
Yeah, it's one that's fascinated me since I was just young when I first sort of heard about it. I mean, it wasn't until sort of the last couple of decades really that I started seeing video clips on YouTube, sort of behind the scenes footage of that. that case that I started to really sort of appreciate it more.
Yeah.
And I started to think about things more. Like there's photographs of the girls levitating from across the bed, across the room.
Yeah.
And it's me in the photo. It looks like she's just jumping from bed to bed.
Yep.
I don't know, but yeah, just hearing the interviews, seeing the interviews, from the girls' mouths themselves, hearing them talking about it. It's just, I don't know, it's fascinating, me personally.
It is.
Okay. In all your time now of researching and going out looking for ghosts, I mean, there are a lot of theories to what ghosts are. Residual, extraterrestrials, to interdimensional, to deceased people. There are a lot of, or maybe just imaginary. There are a lot of theories to what ghosts are. Have you experienced anything in your life now, or up until now, that kind of confirmed to you one of those theories, at least, that is a possibility?
That's a good question. I think the moment I heard my mom's voice on the shack hack, on the spirit box, that one was like, I don't know what to make of that, because literally the interaction only lasted for maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and like I said, that was on a spirit box that I had already heavily criticized before then. So that one was weird, because I'm like, well, how does that happen? Like, is she calling in from another plane of existence, or is she right there and somehow she's projecting herself into the device? Because my whole thing is, if this equipment can pick up ghosts and can pick up my voice and whatnot, why can't they do it right now if I'm just like thinking it in my mind? Like, why can't I manipulate the device as a living person? So that's a big thing for me, that I've been trying to explore a little bit more. So that one really, it kind of confirmed to me, okay, maybe it's not aliens, because I did kind of consider that, or maybe we were getting glimpses of moments in time, like, maybe time isn't linear, but maybe it's circular, or it's a zigzag, or for Good Place watchers, Jeremy Bearimy, like, kind of it's not linear at all. We just kind of have these encounters with each other, so it kind of confirmed to me that, okay, well, maybe this isn't like a time thing. So there's definitely, my mom seemed to be very conscious and very aware of where she was, of the situation and what she wanted to say to me, and she was out. Like 1 or 2 minutes, she was gone. So answered questions, and it was crazy because my team that was with me, they couldn't believe it either. And then I had to play a recording, because I still have her voicemails on my phone. I had to play her voicemails afterwards, and they're like, holy crap. So, because I'm like, this is my mom. I mean, the inflections are the same, and it was nuts. So I don't know if it's like a soul thing or the survival of consciousness. That's a loaded question. I don't know, but I definitely, for me, know it's not aliens. Or maybe it could be aliens and she's on a spaceship talking to me through the shack hack. I don't know, but like, they all come to get us as we're getting ready to die. Man, you just opened another Pandora's box for me. Anyway, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it is. I just like to gauge people's opinions on things, And like, you've written a book on the subject, and you've done your YouTube clips about, what to do as a paranormal investigator. What would you consider maybe the top 5 or so top tips that you can offer a paranormal investigator that's just getting into it?
Take a photography class. Definitely photography. Learn how the camera works. Know why it does what it does. I think that's important. 2, either go with a team or have some trusted friends go with you. Be safe. Don't ever do this by yourself, because things happen. 3, do your research ahead of time and already have your questions ready, so that and if you have to write them down. You know, bring that notebook and pen with you. Bring a first aid kit because you never know. That's one of those non-spooky tips. I think that's 4. And then number 5, enjoy the experience. Don't get too caught up in the technicalities of it. Enjoy it. It's ghost hunting is an experience. Whether you end up talking with a ghost or you end up, getting to know the people in your group, it's an experience. And when you do have that spirit contact, I mean, it definitely becomes quite an experience. So enjoy it. Enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride. Yeah. Exactly right. Enjoy the journey, and for what it is.
Yep.
And I tell people that a true paranormal activity is quite rare. So it's not going to happen every single investigation. So just, just ride it and go with wherever it takes you.
Yep, exactly.
Okay, important question. Late night investigation snacks of preference.
Oh, good one.
What has to be in your kit for eating?
Well, for me, I'm kind of an exception because I'm a diabetic, so I have to be very careful with what I consume. So I carry a lot of protein-based snacks, and actually, that's advice I would give to anybody because I know sugar, like sugared sodas, chips, that seems to be the default snack. But if you're doing this for the long haul, definitely get some protein in there. So I like to have like almonds, beef jerky, water, drink water. Oh my gosh, drink water. I don't know why, when I ghost hunt, I get really thirsty. Like, I could be in the exact same like building during daytime there for a party. I won't get thirsty, but when I'm in ghost hunting mode, I don't know why. I just get so thirsty. So I think almonds and beef jerky, those are my snacks.
Coffee, energy drinks?
I'll do coffee and I'll do diet energy drinks, but I'll save the energy drinks for towards the end when I'm really starting to...
You're starting to fade.
When you get to that... Yeah, when you're starting to fade and like literally a demon could levitate in front of me and I'll just be like, nah.
Whatever. The cameras will catch
Which
it
we've
and
had
I'll
something.
check it out later.
That's exactly it. We actually had something very similar happen. We were at St. Albans and we actually rented the little cottage next to it to sleep.
Wow.
And we were so tired. It was like 4 a.m. And the doctor who started St. Albans, his wife reportedly haunts this house. And me and my friend were laying down, we're sleeping, we're like dead to the world. And right before we drift off, we hear a and literally it was, Mrs. Brown, go to bed. I wasn't even scared. It was just like, not right now. Although that's sometimes when the ghosts want to talk is when you're about to go to sleep.
That's right. That's always the way. Or when you've packed up all your equipment. You've packed up all your equipment and you're about to leave. They start making noises and showing themselves and all that.
And you're just like, really? Really? Like,
come on. Okay, Alex.
Like, come on.
It was great talking to you. We should do this again. I enjoyed it. It's really good. I always love to talk with other investigators and researchers out there, especially during this whole lockdown thing. It's gotten me to become a bit more creative and a bit more productive and getting out there and just doing these little videos and just interacting and networking more with my Facebook friends and other researchers out there. I mean, we keep in touch through Facebook definitely. And we sort of look at each other's posts and things like that, but face-to-face is important as well. I think it's important. So nice to meet you.
Especially right now.
Yeah, I think so. It's very important. And I think we all need to network more and just, I mean, this whole para-unity thing, which, I don't know, I think it's a myth personally. Yeah. But I think we really all should be working together. At least just networking and sharing information and sharing evidence. I know that whenever we capture something on video or some sort of photographic anomaly that we've captured, I send it out to a few other friends and a few other teams out there and say, what do you guys think? Have you captured anything like this before? Have you experienced anything like this before? And it's good to gauge their opinions. So it's not just coming from
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Important. Share it.
Cool.
Got to share it. Okay,
Yes.
Alex.
Yes.
Lovely to talk to
All
you.
right.
We'll do it again soon, sir. And
You too.
have a great day and or night, and enjoy the rest of the lockdown. And hopefully we come out the other side healthy and happy and all that. So yeah, stay in touch, okay?
Yes. Yes. Will do. Thank you.
See you later. Bye bye.